All right, welcome to Yin Yoga, and in today's class we're going to focus on the legs and the hips. And one dimension of the yoga that we visit frequently and infrequently is the use of the breath throughout our practice. So often we over-respond to breathing practices and inhale a little too much, and we move away from the natural state of the breath. So we'll look at how it is to naturally breathe through our practice today. Let's start in a kneeling position where you're on 1, 2, or 0 blocks, depending on the tightness in the knees, the shins, and then so we're going to open up the front of the legs to start with. And we'll work on the 5-3-5-3 breath today. 5's a nice count, 5 seconds in. And after you've breathed in for 5 seconds, just holding the breath for a count of 3, 2, 1, and then releasing the breath for a count of 5, 3, 1. And then hold the breath out. Now, as you hold the breath out, just simply pull the navel back in, squeeze the buttocks a little bit. And then on the inhale, relax. Just relax and let the inhale be very natural, but a little bit extended up to the count of 5. And then holding the breath in. And then exhaling, letting it out, pulling the navel in, slightly tightening the buttocks, holding the breath out for a count of 3. So 5-3-5-3 is just a guideline. If you find 5 is too much or too little, extend it or shorten it. If you find holding the breath creates a little bit of anxiety, shorten the breath retention after you breathe in. And the same with the exhale, holding the breath out, letting the body relax on the inhale so it's a natural breath in. So think of it as a rectangular breath. 5 seconds, 3, 5 seconds, 3. And the most important part is on the inhale is being very relaxed. So the inhale is unforced. While it's an artificial breath, because we're counting, let the breath be as gentle and natural as you can. Now, if your attention wanders away from the breath, that's okay. And when you're ready to bring your attention back to the breath, just bring it back to the breath, to the numbers 5, 3, 5, 3. Or whatever numbers you're using. Could be 6, 2, 6, 2. So roughly symmetrical. And if the symmetry isn't matching how you feel today, just change the numbers around to a system that works for you. So let the breath fit you rather than you fit the breath. And as best as possible, come back to this 5-3-5-3 system during the practice as we come onto all fours. You can come off the block and put it to one side. Have the knees stationed underneath the hips and the hands stationed underneath the shoulders. Extend the left leg back and drop the ball of the foot. Push through the hands using the strength of the arms, almost like you were trying to do downward dog, except you've got one knee on the mat. And the resultant stretch comes through your left calf. So trying to get that ankle mobility back into the body. Inhale for 5. Hold for 3. Exhale for 5. Now as you exhale, drop the head and round the back. Hold the breath out for 3, 2, 1. Now lift the head up so the back loses its hunch as you inhale for 5. Hold. Exhale, and as you exhale, start to round the back, drop the head, like you're doing angry cat with this calf muscle stretch. Now bring the knee back, widen the knees, bring the feet together and drop back into child pose, resting your hands onto your feet. And your head can rest on the mat or a block. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold the breath. Exhale. Now as you exhale, lift the hips up and drop the head. Hold the breath out for 3, 2, 1. Relax back down into embryo. Inhale the breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. Exhale. Lifting up the body, holding onto the feet into that rabbit pose. And then relax everything. Come down and stretch the arms out over the head in child pose. And this time, let your breath be natural, not counted. Always relaxing on the exhale, waiting for the inhale to come by itself. Make your way up onto all fours once again. This time extending the right leg back. Drop the ball of the foot and press through the heel bone. Using the strength of your arms to push back to stretch the calf muscle. Now I want you to either replace the 5-3-5-3 breath with the natural breath, remembering the natural breath is the one that waits
at the end of the exhale. You never rush the inhale. Then add your angry cat to the exhale. Pull the navel in. When you feel the inhale come, relax the body as you press out through the heel bone. Filling up once again. Release, come back to embryo. Hands on heels, head on deck. Natural breath in. And then slowly make your way up, find a strap, and we're going to come onto a seat, either a rolled up blanket or rolled up towel, burrito roll, sitting on the edge of the seat. You can have some blocks handy and or a bolster, and coming into a straddle with the hips, so opening up the hips here. Toes curled back, so we stretching out the posterior chain of the leg, and we can rest the head on blocks or bolster. And if you don't have blocks or bolster, that's fine. You can just prop your arms, brace your arms against the legs, and just let the head relax. And just juggle your seat so your sit bones really come to the edge of whatever you're sitting on. And as the sensation of stretch in the hamstring, calf muscles, ankle flexibility, Achilles, as you settle into that, soften the breath, come into the natural state of breathing. Even if there's a sigh, And remember to wait for the inhale, never rush the inhale. Not worried about how big or small your breath is, but really respecting how natural it feels. Come back to your breath. Let it be soft and natural. If you feel you could go a little bit lower with the head, adjust your blocks or bolster. And unless that interferes with your breathing, stay there with the extra sensation. 2 more breaths here. And use your hands to lift you up. Don't use the back. Use the hands to prop you back up. Make sure your strap is handy. Let's lean back for a moment. Leaning back. And draw your shoulder blades back. Squeezing your shoulder blades. That's it. So you feel that stretch sensation through the front of the shoulders and the pectoral muscles of the chest. And you can try lifting and lowering your head a few times. And then feel that Swedish search for the sun on the neck, lifting the chin. Oh yeah. Now let your breath be natural. See how this feels with the breath. Oh. You might find in some shapes the breath rhythm changes significantly. Just resist the temptation to rush the inhale. And then slowly release the leaning back and bring the arms back and bending the right knee. Bring the right foot against the left. And we'll do a little bit of foot flossing here to start with on that left foot. Get nice and deep into that foot. Nice lean back, and then you can hinge forward, walking the hands, and try to bring the right hand in front of the left hand so you feel this, the body trying to twist to the left. So your left hand is the dominant, the right hand is the dominant hand in the reach for the toes, not the one closest, but the one furthest. So you feel this really working in the twisting muscles of the body, while the left hip is open. And now smile as you come into the natural breath, the unrushed inhale. So as soon as we focus on the breath, at least in my experience, I'm noticing a lot of sighing, which is indicative of needing to pay more attention to my breath. And then slowly make your way up. And take the right hand behind the back and grab the strap. So I'm going to bend my knee to start with so I can hold it. I have a gammy shoulder here, so I've got to be careful here. So I'm going to need extra length in my strap. Oh. And bring the right hand to cross over the body, midline of the body. And keep driving out through that left heel. You really want the back of that left heel and that left hip open. And start with some dynamic head movements left and right. As the head turns to the right, towards that back shoulder, bring the back shoulder back more so you're creating more of a rotation. You can do that by leveraging your left hand on that right knee. So you're really opening up the right chest. And the next time the head turns to the left shoulder, the front shoulder, just hold it there. And as you hold it there, draw the navel in a little bit. It's like you're sucking, you've got some shrink wrap around your belly or a corset, and it's just pulling the lower abdominals in more. And with all that awkwardness, what's it like to relax into the breath? Not rushing the inhale. And carefully, softly relax the grips. Let the body unwind itself in slow-mo. And while we're here on this side, we'll take the strap into the right hand above the head, left hand crosses over, so it's that awkward crisscross. So you can think of your elbows crisscrossing and then lifting up. And feeling that through the ribs a little more this time. And the right hand can gobble up the strap, eat up the strap, and that's going to leverage you over towards the left knee more. And just go as far as you can so that you, even though it's awkward, uncomfortable, see if you can find that natural breath where the inhale isn't panicked or rushed. Now, as you come out of this one, relax the overhead arm. Allow the body to come up slowly and reach both arms back and lean back. Squeeze the shoulder blades and lift the chin. Oh. And make your way back and change legs. And you can start with the foot flossing on this side. Driving out through that right here. So I'm literally leaning back to create more force and friction in the strap. Really getting into the fascia in a deep massage here. All right, now changing the flexion to forward, remembering the left hand's going to lead towards that right foot. So you get that twisting motion in the torso. And once again, when you compress the front of the body, there's going to be a tendency for the inhale to rush or panic. And see if you can keep the inhale as smooth and gentle as you can. So you're not compromising the inhale, you're not rushing it. And it sends a message to your nervous system that everything's okay. In some ways, to prevent the rushed inhale is to extend the exhale. So the end of the exhale and the beginning of the inhale are intrinsically linked. Usually there's a little pause between the two. Allow yourself to come up slowly and take the left hand behind the back, half bind, grabbing your strap from behind. Hopefully your strap's long enough. Right hand crosses over. That's it. Now remember to invite the cervical spine, the neck, to allow the head to rotate gently from side to side, just noticing how it feels. A nice relaxed gaze, like you're a monarch looking out over your subjects. No rush. Good. And the next time you look over the back shoulder, see if you can bring that back shoulder back a little more. So the tightening of the scapula, initiating the twist. And then you can look over the front shoulder, the right shoulder. Once again, we're in this awkward position where the nervous system might be exciting the breath. So smooth the breath out. Longer exhale. Softer inhale. Waiting for that inhale to come naturally, rather than rapidly. And slowly release that revolved twist, and we'll come into a lateral flexion on one side as you left hand grabs the strap and can come up. Right hand crosses over. Opening up that rib cage, nice, that's it. And you can gobble the strap up with the hand. It's going to leverage you down more and release, unclog the pelvis, the rear pelvis. And get yourself to that threshold where you want to panic breathe, and then invite your attention to come solely onto the breath. Smooth, slow, relaxed inhale, waiting. where the work of the inhale adds sensation to the stretch as the lungs expand. Very relaxed release, bringing the arm down. Bringing the hands behind the back. Squeezing the shoulder blades, getting some winter sun on the throat. And release. You can remove the strap and stand your feet on the edges of your mat. You can come off your prop. And simply lean back into the hands, gently windshield wipering the knees from side to side. So one hip externally rotates and its partner hip internally rotates. Let's add the swinging arm here. So you can swing as both knees come to one side, sending the twist all the way up the spine into the neck. The next time you swing to the left, pause and hold. And come down onto your elbows. Take 5 more natural breaths here. Waiting for the inhale. Now let's modify this a little bit by walking the hands back and keeping both knees at 90 degrees. So just look at your knees. Try to get a 90-degree angle behind the knee joint. And then we'll come back down onto the elbows, but this time the goal will be to grow the antlers outwards and stretch out away from the hips into deer pose. Once you've found the threshold of breath, that moment where the breath wants to speed up and become shallow, just relax and wait for the inhale. And let the inhale be long and soft and deep. And slowly walk the hands back. Standing the feet once again on the mat and leaning back, getting some winter sun on the neck. And then start to windshield wiper the knees side to side again. Add the swinging arm so it moves up the spine. And the next time you swing, it'll be on the opposite side this time. I swapped so many times that I've forgotten where I am. It looks like you're on your right side. And then come down to your elbows. Smooth, soft inhale. Unrushed inhale. And hopefully we're getting to the stage in our yoga where we're okay with the sounds of a groan or a moan or a sigh on the exhale. Getting over that embarrassment when those sounds are made. The natural sounds that have been taught to us as being unnatural. Slowly walk the hands back. Adjust your knees 90 degrees, 90 degrees. And then we'll come down into extended deer pose this time. So start on the elbows. And if that feels okay, walk the hands out away from the head. Using your breath as a threshold measurement. Reminding ourselves to breathe slowly under pressure, smoothly under pressure, gently when we feel uncomfortable, when we're outside that natural or that zone of entropy that we habitate, that we fall back into the couch potato zone. When we're outside of that zone, can we breathe smoothly then? And then slowly walk back. And we'll finish with some more windshield wipering and arm swinging, just to release the spine from all that work. And then when you're ready, come down onto your back, knees together, feet apart, TP pose, Head can be supported if it needs it to take pressure off the neck. Let's come into the smooth breath here and notice how it feels. Now, particularly with the exhale this time. On the exhale, can you exert a little low back pressure against the mat? And then relax the inhale. And hopefully you notice the flexibility of the spine as you breathe. The low back, the lumbar spine pressing into the mat on the exhale. And as you relax and inhale, the low back arches, releasing the contact with the mat. So this lumbar flexibility with the breath is something a lot of people no longer have. The lumbar spine has become atrophied in relation to the breath. The lumbar movement integral to the movement of the diaphragm, the pelvic floor. And then extend the left leg and hug the right knee into the ribs. And maybe lift the head up as if you're trying to kiss your knee. And as you do that, twirl your foot. So feel you have options here. You can stay in this lumbar crunch or this abdominal crunch with the low back pressing in the mat, or you can drop the head and just squeeze. Rotate the foot in the opposite direction. And with the head upraised or flat, doesn't matter, grab that foot, grab that right foot, and now hug the whole right leg, folded right leg, into the rib cage, like you're holding a baby. You're really wrapping your arms around that baby. And if you can, lower the head back down while you squeeze, releasing the piriformis here as well. Can you energize your extended leg, your left leg? Can you push out through the heel bone? Now take the hand that's holding the foot, probably the left hand, and reach for that right knee. So you're going to reach for the right knee and release the right hand palm down out in front of you, or beside your shoulder. And now roll onto the left hip as you carefully and with control. The right foot can stand on the thigh or the mat. And keeping the head rotated towards the extended arm. Find your threshold of breath here in the twist. And then slow that inhale down. Relax the inhale. And then slowly roll on to the back. And grab your hamstring for a moment and extend. Right heel to heaven, toes curled back. Let's point and flex that foot. And just for some fun, we can bend that knee, and if you've got a strap handy, you can put the strap over the foot, or you can reach your right hand up and grab the foot, keeping the knee bent, but the sole of the foot facing the ceiling. So if your knee's a little straighter than mine, you might need the strap. So getting into the hips in a whole different way. Oh. Smooth the breath out. And with that smooth breath out, drop the right foot down to the inner thigh and come into tree pose on your back. If that feels really awkward for the groin, you can prop your thigh up with a block or a bolster. Find 3 smooth, slow, calm, relaxed breaths here. And then release that right leg. Pick up the left knee, and we're going to hug the left knee. Remembering with the hug, you can keep your head down or up depending on what your preference is here. 2 different variations, both of them releasing the low back, and you can do an ankle twirl on that foot. If you twirl the foot, twirl in both directions. It's so important to keep our ankles flexible. And then grabbing that left foot, this time we'll squeeze into your pigeon, lowering the head down, focusing on the squeeze here, piriformis, etc. Keep the right leg active this time, drive out through the heel bone. And the beautiful thing about smoothing out our breath, bringing the attention onto our breath, is the uncomfortable isometric shape we're in. Time passes with less attention on discomfort and more attention on breath. A magician's trick. Keep the audience's eye on the breath. Oh dear. And then we'll grab that knee and extend the left arm out this time and roll onto the right hip. Oh yeah. Yum, yum, yum. Turn the head towards the extended arm, if you can. And this really ties the breathing system up, so we're going to find that gentle breath. That gentle, unhurried breath. How's your attention on the breath going? And then slowly releasing the twist into tree pose on the back. Oh, might have forgotten something here. Let's bring the knee back up this time and just grab the foot into wind reliever pose on this side. Once again, you can use the strap over the foot if your hand doesn't reach, if the knee is a bit too straight. Oh. All right, time for that attention on the breath. And when you're ready, you can find your tree pose. And from tree pose, Shavasana. And for the first 5 or 6 breaths in Shavasana, rather than focus on the inhale, focus on the exhale into the emptiness at the end of the exhale. I like to think of it as the final breath you take before you fall asleep. And it's as if the body takes its cue from the exhale, that it lets go of any extra tension. And in the breath retention out, it relaxes even more. If you can do it for more than 5 or 6 breaths, that's exceptional. Stay in Shavasana as long as you need to. You can follow my transition, or you can do your own as you reach both arms overhead. Push out through both feet, lengthening the body into a big spear shape. You can bend the knees and pick the knees up and hug the knees into the ribs. And you can clasp the hands behind the head and pick the head up and reach elbows towards knees, squeezing the sides of the head. Rolling over, supporting the head into a little ball. And keeping your attention on the smoothness of your breath. Come to a seated position with your attention on the breath, like you're trying to get up without waking the baby. And with that same metaphor of the sleeping baby, just breathe quietly and gently. Like the baby's asleep in front of you and you're just observing. Breathing quietly. And thank you for joining me. Namaste. Thank you.